Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. Monday Night Football, which there will literally be Monday Night Footballs for La Fiera, which we'll definitely get to talking about later on. But as you can see, we are on episode 35, Copa Telcel, starting tomorrow for La Fiera game coming up. So we're going to talk everything about Copa Telcel. We're also going to have Eduardo from Caballos del Norte helping us kind of talk about his team and how our team looks like and possible lineups. Also talking about the friendlies that Leon had this past week, victories, and kind of how that looked. Also addressing rumors, basically with the current team, a lot of rumors in and out. Today we got some fresh ones, so we're definitely going to get into that. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody watching us from Periscope and YouTube. In case you missed last week's episode, we did upgrade, as you can see. If you want to follow the chant that you heard of Los de Arriba official, open up your camera and scan the QR code, and you'll get to their official page on Twitter. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can open up your camera and QR are the Lions Den on the other corner, and we just lost Jose. But don't worry, he'll be back. Javier, Louis, and Carlos, how are we tonight?
Doing well, Cari. How are you?
Good.
All good. All good, except for these rumors.
That literally has us on just like the edge of what's going to happen.
Assume the worst. Let's not assume the worst just yet, Carlos.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just start off the bat, the rumor that we were encountered like
for now they're rumor.
Yeah, just kind of, out of nowhere, the CEO popping out. Obviously, we're going to talk about Leo Ramos and Sambuesa, but I guess the kind of rumors going around about Boca Juniors asking for the CEO kind of hit us all like, what? Like, no, you cannot take the CEO away. Like, what are we gonna do? But I'll let you guys, whoever wants to talk about the whole we love to CEO aspect.
Well, my reaction to that was a lot swifter and stronger and hit a lot harder than anything having to do with Sambuesa or Leo Ramos. In my opinion, I don't know what you guys think, but like, there's been a lot of chatter about Leo Ramos and Ruben Sambuesa. Those guys, I wish to keep them. I would love to have them. I want them to be bought in and I want them to contribute. But the news of their departure would not hit nearly as hard as the news of the CEO leaving. He is a pillar of our back line, which is a little bit which could use all the pillars it can get. How shall I say? So for us to lose him would be devastating, I think. I don't know what you guys think.
Yep. He's the backbone of our defense. We can't let go of our best defender. The only way I'd be okay with letting him go is if we put like a really high price tag where we can buy a striker and buy a replacement for the deal. But from what I'm hearing, it's $6 million his buyout clause.
So yeah, I agree that it will be a huge blow to Leon. It's more than losing someone like Leo Ramos or Sambuesa, because the CEO, it's what makes, or what little of what we have the difference, which is Mosquera and the CEO. That's like our main pillars. Like, if you take them away, then we're left with nothing. And Mosquera is just coming back from a long-term injury, so we don't know how he's gonna be doing either. So the CEO is essential if we want to be a title contending team. You gotta start from the back forward. So if we lose him, like, that's plus
We're done.
I don't think, like, at least from the rumors that we were hearing, I don't think they're saying like on the Boca Juniors, like Leon is asking like $6 million for, like, if they want to buy the CEO like no questions asked. But I don't, I doubt that, to be honest. And I want to see you. It's they want him on a loan. Like no, like there's no way. We
Yeah,
there's no way
it's just
we're gonna
not
let go a player that's irreplaceable for us on a loan. Like there's no way. Like if that happens, oh my god,
oh.
No.
Yeah,
Like
Jose's
left
having
us hanging.
connectivity problems, it seems. No,
I think
but
there was
as
like
he
a year
was,
contract, right? To Tecio's contract.
yeah. Well, if Jose were to continue, but if he comes back, he would probably say this that the only thing is that checking into his contract status, he doesn't have that much left remaining, a year remaining. So after 6 months, he could easily just look for his way out, or at a later point, we could lose him for nothing. And the Deportivo wouldn't want that. But man, he's the kind of center back you don't really find that much of in Liga MX. He's one of the best at getting forward. He comes out of nowhere to get on the end of a set piece. Yeah, how many times has he done that? Like not even on a corner, but just like he'll come out of nowhere. He'll do the dirty work. He's got great feet. You know, he does everything, and it would be a devastating loss. We just don't. There's no one who can do even remotely close to what he does on our roster, and there's no one they could throw in that I can really think of off the top of my head on Boca to sweeten the deal enough to make it worth it for us. I don't know. I'm just not seeing it.
Anybody else? Javier?
Casillo is extremely fundamental. Like, there's no way I think they're gonna let him go. Not just because what he could do as a defender, even as a left back. You know, I think he's extremely fundamental. With Boca Juniors, I don't think. I think it was Jorge Bermudez, ex Boca, who said it, right. He's Colombian, and he's like, hey, I think you guys should look into Casillo. Well, that's cool. You know, like I'm pretty sure they're interested, but I don't think they have the money to buy him. I think what I heard, the rumor, all this is a rumor, that they want a loan. And I don't think there's no way that. But at the same time, you know, our Directiva has done other transactions that make you kind of doubt if they will probably do something like that. But I don't think so. I don't think they're that crazy. You know,
I mean, it goes back to all the chats we had over Campbell. Like, how committed are they to winning in the short term?
Exactly.
By signing Campbell, they showed that, well, maybe they are. You know, they maybe silenced some of our doubts.
Sense, right?
They silenced some of our doubts about whether they were committed to winning in the short term with that signing. And you're right. It would not make sense. It wouldn't make sense for them to do that and then to go and let Tecillo go. I mean, now you're leaving a hole just as big or bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So like it would go against that notion. But again, you know, we have reason to believe that making an unpredictably dumb decision might not be beyond their capabilities. So you know, let's just hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Definitely the reality of things. I think, you know, I guess we're all hoping that they see how important the CEO is and not to make a mistake right now. Obviously, you know, he has a year left of his contract. Like Jose was saying earlier when we were chatting, I mean, you have to extend it. Like, you just have to offer him a new contract. Like, if we sell him, we have to get someone as good or better. Like, I'm not going to tolerate anything less. And it makes me so mad because he is so, like, he's just vital to us as a left back, as a center back. Like, it's kind of like when we had Rafa Marquez, like, I felt safe. It's with the CEO. If we have the CEO, I feel safe, you know? Obviously, we have, you know, Navarrito, which is, you know, that's a totally different aspect. But as the CEO, he's so important to our defensive line. If we miss him without winning a campeonato, I'm gonna cry. I'm not being exaggerated. Like, this cannot happen. So yeah.
Not just the defense. Look how often he gets forward and how quickly he gets forward. I think he's one of the fastest players in the league as a center back, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know the stat. I remember seeing a stat sometime about like how many kilometers total players have run. Like, there was a list of the most kilometers that players run in the league. He's always near the top, which is just, for his position, is amazing. Yeah, well, it would be devastating. It would be a devastating loss. That I saw that news and I'm like, okay, hold the phone. Doesn't matter what they're saying
Which
about Rubens. It doesn't matter what they're saying about Rubens. It doesn't matter what they're saying about Leo Ramos. Those guys in comparison are much more expendable. Much more. Yeah.
So another rumor heard today. I feel like I've been being like a broken record for the past couple podcasts that I was like something up with Leo Ramos. Like I still feel like he has a foot out of the team. Like it's just something going on. Kind of controversial regarding the friendlies because he didn't play the first one, either him or Sambuesa. They're saying, okay, so does this mean Leo Ramos is out? But then he played the second game, and now it's kind of like he's headed to MLS. I mean, that's what we just saw not too long ago. What are your thoughts about Leo Ramos leaving to MLS?
Well, not only did he play the second game, he scored a brace. You know, and you get the feeling like, well, was that his last chance to show us that he can do something, to show his value for the team? You would think that if it depends on whether or not they play in these things, whether their future with the team depends on that, then he would have a future with the team. If we're going to say that he and Sambuesa sitting out the first game mean they're definitely out, well, then him scoring a brace in the second one means maybe he still has a future with the team. So I'll believe that he's gone when I see him gone. I guess that's what I would say.
Carlos?
There's no way to know.
Yeah.
Thoughts on?
I mean, the exact same thing that Louis said. It didn't make sense to me how in the first game everybody was counting him out because he didn't play. Mm-hmm. And then this last game he scores a brace and suddenly he's back on the boat. Yeah. And then right after that, all of these rumors come out, especially today, how there was a rumor about how he was going to MLS. But like Louis said, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. And I mean, even if he does go to MLS, I don't think it's going to be a purchase. He's probably going to just be loaned out.
You think so? I mean, we get pretty cash if we go to MLS, kind of dip it back into.
I don't know, because MLS has their designated player situation, and I don't know if Leo Ramos is the kind of player. I'm thinking he's right on the fringe of being like a low-level designated player for a team like Orlando. I also don't know. Jose is having connectivity issues. He'd be able to look it up and tell me. But I don't remember what their designated player situation is. So I mean, if we knew that, we'd know maybe what kind of deal he'd be going on. Mm-hmm. All I know is he deserves to be somewhere where his attributes can be put to best use, because he definitely has attributes, definitely has capabilities that just don't fit in here. But that doesn't mean they don't fit in somewhere else, and he deserves a situation where he can flourish. I don't know enough about Orlando's scheme to know if that's the kind of place he can flourish. But he deserves to be somewhere where he can. That much is true. But again, we just don't know. We won't really know, because there's just so much floating around about him here. He's gone, he's staying, he's gone, he's staying. And just when it looks like he's staying for sure, then another rumor comes out. So this might not even be the last rumor that comes out.
Yeah, definitely. And then something else that came out, obviously we knew that we would not be keeping Sosa. And I guess yesterday it was confirmed by MX Draft, which shout out to MX Draft, good friends of mine, that he's officially back at Pachuca. But then the whole rumor of him and Sambuesa kind of being involved with kind of like a trade between Toluca, because I think what's happening with Club Pachuca is money-wise, they're not as stable, especially Ismael Sosa and Sambuesa. I mean, they're higher wages, so something in between those lines of maybe there could be some intercambios. Obviously, I can never say his name. What's his name? I can't say it. He came into the mix and we were like, do we really want him? It's just, I don't think that's going to do anything for us. No disrespect, but obviously we know our team enough to know who would fit and who wouldn't fit.
Yes, although I'll say that his time spent with Toluca has been an anemic offensive team. They haven't generated hardly anything. So I don't think we've seen what he can really do. We've seen how a change of scenery has worked wonders for certain players in our starting 11. I'd be curious. I was excited about Leo Ramos when he came, and now I'm not excited about him anymore. We've seen what he can do, and it's not enough. But I'd be excited to see at least at first, I'd be excited to see what he would do with a change of scenery. He's definitely a player with qualities. I don't know.
He doesn't. We just can't play with a 9 like him. You know what I mean? Like it's just.
Yeah.
And I feel
Yes.
like I think we have Nico Sosa who needs minutes, and we definitely want to see and then we have a possible Campbell, and we have Armando Leon. I think like another we don't need another striker, right?
I guess what I'm saying, yes, you're right. But I guess what I'm saying is, we've seen what Leo Ramos can do. If we trade those two guys straight up, we know we're not really losing anything. We might not be gaining anything either. So the worst case scenario is a wash. But suppose Gigliotti comes and surprises us, and then we have another option. We know we're not getting that from Ramos, but maybe we might get that from Gigliotti. I'm not saying it's likely, but it's possible. It's a no-lose situation to trade those guys straight up. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. We have Gio Duarte. He actually worked for Orlando. And he said we have a DP spot open in Orlando. Orlando could take Leo right now.
Thank you, Gio.
I think they have
Thank you for that information, Gio.
If I remember, they have three DP spots.
When you were off the air momentarily, I was saying, Jose were here. He could tell me exactly how many DP spots Orlando has. Yeah.
Definitely.
But,
and then, let's talk about what Jose sent us off camera on the chat about what's going on with John Cardona.
Well, that was not me, but that was
me.
Luis. Luis shared with us.
I sent that.
That was
I sent that screenshot. Yeah.
Sorry, that was Louis.
Yeah. No, Jose was about the jerseys. Yeah. No, the John Cardona thing. Yeah, he was spotted playing in a Llanero match somewhere in León. He hasn't been able to return to Colombia, and he's cut from the team. They're not paying him. I mean, he's just, and his wife is pregnant. So I saw that. I mean, obviously our directiva decided not to continue along with him, and they're under no obligation to pay him anything anymore. But it's not I don't know, it's not the greatest look. The optics on that are not that great. Like, he can't. Yes, normally when you cut a player, there isn't a worldwide pandemic going on that keeps them from returning to their home country. You know. So maybe it would have been nice for them to throw him a little bit of a bone. You don't want to see a guy that, frankly, we never got to see what he could really do for us. We never got to see what he could do for us.
The least we can do is at least offer him to Pachuca. Since we're always interchanging players, just give him a shot at Pachuca.
Seriously.
I mean, even before the Grupo Pachuca got rid of Mineros, why don't send him to Mineros at least for 6 months so he can at least have something to come. I don't know, have some sort of salary or something. I don't know.
Well, there must be a spot for him somewhere, even in the Liga de Balompié.
There you go. Even there.
If he was thought of as a first division refuerzo by our directiva, then he must be good enough for the Liga de Balompié or even the Liga de. I mean, these teams they're just getting rolling. They're just putting their rosters together. Maybe he doesn't have good representation. Maybe he doesn't have a good agent. I mean, maybe he doesn't have like the right people in his corner to find him a spot. But I find it hard to believe that this is his only option to be playing in these kind of matches. I don't know. It's kind of sad to see. Doesn't make our directiva look good. But I also think that there must be an opportunity out there for him. I hope so.
I hope so. I mean, he didn't get many opportunities under Embrace, unfortunately. I think he did have the quality, but he never did get the chances to prove it. And it's just sad to see him in this situation. But and it's just mind-boggling that even in Liga de Balompié, he can't even find a team. I don't know if he either can find a team or just like you were saying, maybe he either has himself to represent himself, or he has no representation, or a really bad representative. But man, I just hope good things come his way. He wasn't able to shine for us, but I know that he's a quality player. But
I remember he took 3 free kicks. He took 3 free kicks for us, and they were all pretty dangerous. That's what I remember.
Yes.
You have a good memory, Louis. I just can't with you.
I don't know if it was lunch. I don't know how many it was. I don't know exactly how many it was, but I remember it was a few. and they were all pretty. They all looked pretty decent to me. Like all that someone could have gotten on the end of.
Better than some guys in our team.
Yeah.
I wanted to add about John Cardona. Do you guys? I kind of just saw that it was Fabian Luna had. I think he had posted about Cardona and about his wife was pregnant and whatnot. And then I read on he actually Cardona answered. I think Fiera Mania wrote something about it. He actually said, que, I'm gonna read it in Spanish because it's like right here. Está saliendo de mi boca. Y yo no he salido a cobrar ni he jugado partidos por plata o por lana. A mí sí me invitaron a un partido, pero fue por un muy buen amigo mío aquí de León, pero no por plata. La verdad, le están poniendo cosas de más. So he actually did.
Okay. Got it.
Well,
yeah. So he's not getting paid for it. Okay. So he's just like for fun.
Yeah, he's. I think he's still in León. But yeah, who knows the situation if he's gonna play for any team this coming season. But I did see the Fabian Luna thing, and Fabian's a good friend, and I know he likes to exaggerate a couple of things.
Okay, yeah, that clarifies things.
I remember some people saying, like, this is the kind of guy we should be putting our faith in, a guy who just wants to play so badly, that he's out there in a game like this. And I think there's something to be said for that, especially what you're saying, Javier, right now is true, that he just kind of went and did this for fun just so he'd have somewhere to play.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I think that speaks well of his desire to contribute.
Yeah.
But we'll never know, I suppose.
It's just it just wasn't enough under Brisa's, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we wish him luck, and hopefully we'll get to see him soon and demonstrate.
There's too much internal competition. Sorry to cut you off. There's too much internal competition. Like,
especially
the player in front of him. Especially in that position, the player in front of him is Chapo Montes. You're not going to beat Chapo Montes. Yeah, exactly. So
Chapo or
Meneses or Mena from the wing.
Have like 3 or 4 people who are ahead of him. Yeah, it's just
50-year-old Chapo.
And then Sosa who just left too.
Yeah.
So, we wish him good luck. Hopefully, see him soon. Last comment before we move on quickly to the next thing. Before we move on to the preview, Gio Duarte also said, "I guess they have Nani and Dom. Give us Leo. LOL." Well, I guess we'll sort that out. So thank you, Gio, for the good.
That was the money.
Input, right? Good input on Orlando City.
I think plays cool still.
Man, if Dom Dwyer can be a designated player, then Leo Ramos certainly can. Yeah. Sorry. To our Orlando fan, I don't mean to badmouth your player. But.
I guess we'll see what will happen next. So let's just quickly go through Guardianes 2020, which is the rename of instead of Apertura 2020, Guardianes Liga MX BBVA announced yesterday, kind of this whole video with Bonilla. I have my own thoughts about that, but in regards yesterday, the calendario came out, which was supposed to come out a week ago, but obviously there was a lot of kind of back and forth with clubs regarding, home games, away games, and how that would look for the next upcoming season. So the schedule is out, and we will definitely have previews for these games. But the first just couple of games, we have Chivas first, visiting Chivas. Then we'll be home against Monterrey, visiting Cruz Azul, Pachuca, Xolos, and Juarez, just to give you a couple. And but we are going to play on Mondays. What are we?
Home games anyway.
Home games, yes, Monday home game. Louis, do you still okay with you Monday nights?
Oh, as long as there's no possibility of being in attendance, I don't really care what day or time. I one thing I've had to get used to, like supporting the Liga MX, growing up with U.S. sports, like one set time and day when you play your home games is just something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, like people freak out about it. People are freaking out about it a little bit, but I think it's just because they're afraid of change more than the fact that they don't want us to play on Monday night. I mean, think about Monday Night Football in the NFL. Those are the highest profile games that there are.
Yeah.
They save the highest profile games for Monday night. I don't remember. Are we the only team that's going to play on Monday nights? I didn't look into that.
I think I don't think so. Alternate, right?
Okay, so So when we play our home games on Monday nights, we will be the only Monday night game.
I have to double check on that. It was
Either
just
way.
confusing. They were trying to, obviously they're going to separate because, no one can go. But I saw a lot of comments of Leon fans saying, really, guys, you couldn't at least rearrange a Saturday game? Like, obviously,
But what does it really matter if no one can be in attendance? That's my question.
I guess I just think about the people who work nights, who work nights during the week and they can't, catch a game, so they're waiting for the weekend. So
but I really
maybe just thinking of that.
Yeah, I think it's more that it's not clear that people think, oh, they're gonna play on Mondays forever, even the next tournament and the next one after that. So they're freaking out in terms of like when it goes back to everything goes back to normal, like are they gonna have to start going to home games on Monday and the whole thing about that. I do feel that Saturday at night it's like the best time for people in Leon to watch.
Yes, to go or to watch. No. In my situation, Monday night, even if I like Saturday nights as much as anyone else. But if they were to keep playing on Monday nights, for me that would be fine. I have nothing against Monday night. It's way better than a lot of other days they could have chosen, as far as I'm concerned. But I think you're right, Javier. They're thinking about what are all the ways we can get people to see as many games as possible. We talked about this last time with Tom. That's what all the leagues in the world are doing. They're trying to get as many of the games visible as possible, so they want to play on more days. If I can watch a lot more Liga MX games because of that, I'm perfectly fine with that, especially right now. I think you're right. People are freaking out. Oh, no, we're going to play on Monday from now until eternity. No, I have to believe they wouldn't have been so quick to accept this if they thought that fans were going to be able to be in the stands the whole season. And I think, everything will probably be renegotiated, TV deals and stuff like that, once the situation gets back to some semblance of normalcy.
Yeah.
There are a couple of dates in there that kind of worry me, especially the days where we play matches like really close to each other. For example, there's the Necaxa and Tigres all in the same week, and then Querétaro. So that's 3 matches in 10 days? Less than 10 days, 9 days.
But there's also, there's no Conca Champions right now. There isn't going to be any international duty. Right. There aren't going to be any doble jornadas that I saw.
Right, but historically, guys, we're not that good in these.
No,
we're not. They've been a nightmare for us.
You remember I don't want to talk about it. Never mind. LA.
Or don't talk about negative. No.
Kick them out.
You know what, Javier? Let me just kick you out real quick. No negativity. That's
don't
history.
Open the Pandora box.
Yeah.
You remember?
No, that's a can of worms we're not gonna open at this point or ever until.
New Leon, though. This is a new Leon. We're E-Liga champs. I think this is it. We're gonna be the team of the decade. We're gonna win the Copa Telcel, and then we're gonna win this Guardianes 2020 or whatever they're calling it now. Just think positive. I think.
I would also say I think you can kind of throw out history for this one tournament. We have no idea what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be completely different. Also, one benefit of being being the last team to play in a jornada, especially when it gets to be later in the season, you kind of see where your positioning in the table is kind of getting hashed out. Like you're going to know what result you need, because you're always going to be at least every other week you're going to be the last team to play.
Yeah,
so I think I don't know. I think there's some. In my head, there's some kind of advantage that can be taken from that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I guess we will see. We lost Jose. Hopefully, we can get him back up and running. I was going to say something else regarding. I know we'll definitely talk about. We'll talk about. I guess hopefully, if Jose gets gone about. Here he goes. Copa Telcel, but for the rest of the teams that are not even in Copa por Mexico, I really wonder how they're gonna kind of jump back into the league. Obviously, we've seen some players kind of out of shape, or they're kind of getting their conditioning back together. It's been a long quarantine, 3-4 months. So I'm really interested to see just the first game how teams look like. Obviously, you can't really judge for the first game, but I'm really curious And we have a comment right just before we go into Copa Telcel and bring Eduardo. There's a comment of Ivan Soler saying, speaking about the E-Liga champs, do you think that Nico Sosa winning the E-Liga for Leon will give him a favorable light to the directiva that they might push for him to get more chances over an aging Leo?
We joked about
he's getting
this.
more
We already
chances
joked
on
about this,
preseason.
didn't we?
Yeah. I guess
think,
he jumped back in kind of late, but we did address it. Anybody want to give a quick summary?
No, like one has absolutely nothing to do with the other. I think they're giving him a lot of publicity because he's like a face of the franchise now because of what he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that has
I mean, presenting Joel Campo in a very classy way is like a whole new level.
And what an interesting face to choose. What an interesting face to choose to be the face of the franchise, I have to say.
Yeah.
But he had so much visibility. I mean, they threw him in an ad today because he was playing more FIFA. I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't really care anymore. I don't really care anymore.
Yeah,
he won us the title. He won us the title. That was enough, you know.
Yeah.
But
people like according to that, people were like challenging or something. Like they were calling him on his phone. And
I don't know. My attention span for that ended with when we became the champions. You know, if they give him another chance to defend his crown, if they give him a chance to defend his crown, then that's a different story. But
I don't think it's gonna happen.
One has absolutely nothing to do with the other. He'll get his chances if he earns them, which I hope that he does, because I think he's an interesting striker. He has qualities that I don't think Ramos's age is the problem. I don't think even if he were 5 or 6 years younger, I still don't think he'd be the kind of striker that we need.
It's just his characteristics are different.
Yeah, because he's not that old. What is he? 30, 31, turning 31 this year. 30. Yeah, his age is not. He's a slower type player that doesn't fit our system. And Nico has an opportunity to be the kind of player that we need. And so I hope he does get the opportunities because he earns them, but not because of his great ability. Not because of his great ability in playing FIFA.
I think it's just now the pressure is on, to show his skills on an actual field versus virtual field. So I definitely feel like he does have a pressure, and when he's given the minutes, he has to show up, or I don't know. I think it could go. You know how the type of fans we are. Like when we're like happy for something, we're happy. When something's going on, we're like, hey, you gotta get it together because we're not gonna tolerate it. So I definitely feel he has pressure. Hopefully, he is given the minutes that we want to see, because like I always go back, like Carlos said, he kept getting trash minutes and then he got injured. So then we really didn't know, how he plays except for what he says. But we will see. So now let's just go into Copa Telcel, and for kind of previewing Copa Telcel, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, we will be playing tomorrow, which is good to see Leon on the bonus screen playing again. We can have more things to talk about. But we are joined by Eduardo, who I've had on Coffee with Gary. Great guy running the Caballos del Norte FC Juarez account in English. And let's just add him to the stream and welcome him.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
How you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for joining.
Can't complain.
So, Eduardo, talking about Copa Telcel, me and Louis kind of, we're kind of heartbroken about the whole PR stunt that our teams kind of, gave us. In your reaction, I know me and you were kind of going back and forth, like, what's going on? What was your reaction, like thinking for like a second, oh my God, we're letting it go of Liscano?
Man, I was at work, and I think it was one of you guys who DM'd me about the how Marca released like a whole interview that they were like bombazo coming later. Yeah. And I was at work, so I can't really be on my phone a lot, but I just read it and I listened to the audio, and I was like, damn, what could it be? Like, you just get your mind thinking of all the negatives, and then right when I'm it's like they planned it. Right when I'm leaving work and I just check my phone and I'm driving, I keep on refreshing because I keep on seeing Lescano to Leon. I'm like, no way, this is stupid. Like this isn't happening. And they announce it, and man, I was heated for about 10 minutes. For a full straight 10 minutes. I was all the negative things. I I was actually talking to my dad. We were thinking like, all right, if we let go of Lescano, like we got to get something back. And we were like, it's Mena or nothing. Like, come on now. Like, how do we let go of him? Right. Of course, that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous to think of, but that was just our mindset. And then once I finally got home and I saw what the FC Juarez account did with them and what they did with Pachuca too, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. They got my heart rate up for a little bit. Like they tried to scare me, but man, that was, I can say that was a rough couple of 15 minutes where it was, I was all over the place emotionally. It just didn't make sense, you know, with our front office. Like I was like, okay, what are we doing here? Like, because I was thinking, okay, we got Memo Cantu running the show now. Like, if he's making a move like this, we got to get something back in return that's like $1.50 on the dollar. Like, we're not getting back 50 cents, 70 cents on the dollar. So it just didn't add up for like the 10, 15 minutes. But man, that quick 15-minute rosary on the way home really paid its dues.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. We only knew about our perspective, like the Club León perspective on it, which was like we were like, this is kind of shady for our official social media to be posting this kind of stuff. Seemed a little shady. What we were talking about in our last show was that what eased the pain when we found out it wasn't true. What eased the pain a little bit was the fact that they had just made the Joel Campbell signing official. That was what we've been waiting for weeks, months, for them to finally do, and they made it official. So like, well, we got our guy. It'd be great to have these guys too, but now that we find out it's not true, well, no matter what happened, we got our guy. If they pulled some of this kind of stuff before making that signing official, we'd have been beside ourselves with anger.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Yeah, I mean, the FC Juarez social media account had to actually drop a video of Lescano saying he's staying because a lot of like the fan base didn't really like, they only follow like our social media account. So when they saw something like that, they were like, yo, like what's going on? So a couple hours later, like Lescano like had to drop a video like, hey, there's gonna be Lescano and Juarez for a while, and like everyone kind of just like settled down, like we're fine, like the ship's afloat, like we're good.
Yeah, definitely crazy.
Yeah, honestly, I bought it. I was like rubbing my hands already. I was like, yes.
I tweeted it out. And then we were like, wait, I think this is not true. And then I had a couple guys say, no, like, don't believe it. It's because of this. I'm like, oh, like, really? You're playing with my emotions like that? So it's kind of good to know that both of our emotions were played as a fan, not just one-sided. But I know you guys have had a lot of transfers the past couple of weeks. And I think the whole Diego Roland situation is still up in the air. So what is your expectation regarding your team and the new transfers, even just facing León tomorrow?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. In some of my episodes, I've made the comparison to the San Antonio Spurs and how we're kind of running our front office this transfer market period, because I think we're the team that's made the most signings or the most refuerzos. And it's weird because some of them are like, okay, what are we doing here? Some of them are like, all right, I've heard of this guy before. But like I said, like the Spurs model, which is you go for low risk, high ceiling players or guys who have shown that they can play in the top flight, right? For example, like Jesus Zavala or Edgardo Marin or like Eric Castillo or Luis Donaldo Hernandez, who is one of those young signings. So I think we had a good mix of players that have experience and players that are young Mexicans who are going to have a high ceiling in the future by just staying in our team. So I'm interested to see just how Caballero decides to implement him into the game plan, just because some of them I really don't see maybe starring a lot this season, maybe getting a few minutes here and there. But for example, like a player I do expect to see tomorrow would be like an Eric Castillo, just because he's he played inconsistently at Santos, and I think he's coming to Juarez to fill a position that he's only played for the national team. I think he's going to take over Israel Jimenez's right back role. And I think that makes us really dangerous, because if you had a player like Mauro Fernandez or Diego Roland on the wings, and then you have Eric Castillo overlapping them, you know, it becomes very dynamic to what they can do in terms of setting up plays and crosses, which is how Caballero likes to play. But it's been an up and down offseason. Obviously, a lot of acquisitions, and obviously the question of Roland is in the air. You know, it's interesting to see what will happen there. The thing is, he is training with the team, and he is in Juarez, and I don't think he traveled, but essentially that case just boils down to what Deportivo La Coruña wants, because they had agreed before the pandemic to $4 million on the option to buy. But obviously with everything that's happening, the front office at Juarez has been like, okay, you know, that's what we agreed upon, but you know, these are unforeseen circumstances that we didn't really plan for. So try to help us out and meet us halfway. So right now the revised offer is somewhere around 3 million, 3.5 million. And it's really just up to Deportivo to accept it. But Roland wants to stay and Juarez wants him back.
Sounds exactly like the situation with Campbell.
Yep, exactly like it.
Which did have a happy ending for us, so hopefully we'll have a happy ending for you guys as well.
It should. I mean, from what I've heard, it's everything points to him staying. Everything. It's literally just a case of the team making it official, but it's a lot of just back and forth between clubs. It's not really anything to do with the player or with Roland, because he's a professional and he's done this a lot of years. So, man, I just hope they make it official, because if they make him official and with the new signings we've had, I feel like we have we have the same squad as last year, but a lot more depth in positions of need.
Definitely. I'm gonna ask my guys. I guess looking ahead of tomorrow's game, what do you guys expect to get out of tomorrow, or what do you expect? Don't give me a lineup or players, just like what do you expect to get out of tomorrow's? Because it's pretty much a knockoff, a knockoff legs.
I expect Leon to try to win a tournament played. It would be extremely embarrassing to lose the opening match of a tournament that we created and are hosting in our stadium. So I expect them to maybe not treat it like a regular season game, really, but give it a little more oomph than just a regular throwaway friendly game like the ones that they played in the last few days that weren't even televised. That's not a guarantee of a result or of any kind, but I expect to see them out there fighting. I hope so, but not to the point where they're giving so much that they're getting players injured before the season even starts. We don't want that.
I guess we better knock on wood, Carlos, on Pedro Aquino for both injury and red
exactly.
cards.
Yeah, let's hope nobody gets injured. But as far as expectations for tomorrow, I think tomorrow we're going to see the opening day starting lineup. I think Nacho Ambriz is going to come out with his firme starting 11. And it's going to also be interesting to see the rotations he makes, because I think they're going to have 5 subs, right? So
I don't know the rules. Do you know? Does anyone know the rules of the format of play?
If it's 5, it's going to be interesting to see who subs in and who subs out for who, depending on how the game goes. Because if we're losing, we'll have to see what kind of moves he makes, especially with the players that we signed this offseason.
I would suppose it'll be limitless subs, right?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. That's how it's been in the Copa GNP, in the Copa por México. They've been subbing out basically the whole team for the second.
The whole team, and it's just like, But I feel like
since it's a friendly, I feel it's going to be unlimited subs. But in the official tournament, when the season starts, then it'll be 5 subs.
Yeah. But we're just wondering if it's the same rules as like this Copa por México. I don't know if you guys have been watching those games.
Not really.
Here and there.
Get tired of if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not really. I guess maybe at least if we have like a limit, I think in Copa por México, like when the teams, sub out their whole team, it just disorientates the game. You can't really get much out of it if you're switching out the whole team, especially, maybe they have a couple more chances than we do. We have like, basically if we win, we go to the final, and then, we have the season starting. They can have like, more freedom to definitely sub the whole team if they want. But I think what I'm expecting tomorrow is just
there's also a third place match, I believe.
Yeah.
So each team plays.
So
each team gets two
plays
matches.
2 games no matter what.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
The third place, but what do you think?
But you're right, Gotti, that like you can't decipher anything about what your lineups and rotations are going to be for the regular season when the rules are completely different regarding substitutions. If you're just playing one half with one team, one half with the other. But again, I mean, the point of this is not necessarily even that. It's just get the guys out there and get something under their legs before the regular season, and advertise it as something else, so that it's good for TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's probably gonna be he's like Carlos was mentioning, like Ambitious probably gonna send the starting 11 that he probably thinks it's gonna be the closest to what we'll see it on week 1. I don't expect him to do too many changes because that defeats the purpose of the friendly. I mean, it's definitely I don't expect him to like swap out a whole team. Like that's
not
if
him.
he does that, it's not gonna help. Yeah, it's not gonna help him at all. Like to prepare to the for week 1. So I do expect to be. I mean, if that's what it is right now, it's just five changes. I mean, I could expect at least 5 changes, but not a whole team swap. But yeah, it should be interesting because like so far, at least with Mineros, we won 3-1, and Necaxa they lost a lot of players. We literally just trashed them. It was 5-0. So I think now I haven't really looked at like what Juarez has been playing, if they have been playing any matches previous to this game. So it, especially with their new additions, it should be interesting to see how we fare against it, because I think, at least in my point of view, I think they're going to be a tougher opponent than so far what we had experienced. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Just give us an
really
idea
hard
of
to,
how.
So we actually played a game last Saturday, game because it's the classic what is it, 4 30-minute halves or 3 30-minute halves, my bad. And well, we played against Santos's sub 20 category. So game, not, I mean, we won, we won 7-2, but I don't know how indicative that is of how we'll do against actually a first division team, and especially a team like León, who has given us a lot of troubles in the past. So I don't know how you can just translate that 7-2 win to an actual Primera team, but I anticipate that we're going to see a lot of the starters that we saw last season, and then just see kind of a sprinkling in of the new signings. But we'll likely see what Juarez has fielded all of Clausura, which was Vasquez as the goalie, Olivera, Romo, Velasquez. And then because we lost Jimenez, we'll probably have a youngster, Rodriguez, or maybe Eddie Castillo. And then Flavio, Intriago, and Rabuñal. Only reason that we're playing Rabuñal is because Joaquin Esquivel picked up an injury in the preseason. And then the front three will be Mauro Fernandez, Lescano. And then because we don't have Roland, we're probably going to go with Brian Rubio. Or if Castillo doesn't play in the back, then Eddie Castillo will play up there. But basically, we're going to see the same backbone that has started for Juarez in the Clausura and in the ending of Apertura. So it should be nothing different from Juarez has fielded. And then we'll see new signings sprinkle in here and there.
So that is your starting 11? Sorry, is that your starting 11?
Yeah, so that's that's the tentative starting 11. At least that's the starting 11 that Caballero has used in training for the past 2 weeks. Okay. Essentially, it's just what he's comfortable with and what's been here the longest.
Yeah. And what were you gonna say, Jose?
So so I was just asking if does he think that us having played, well, if you compare it, like they're probably more competitive games than playing versus Santos at 20. Like we play versus Mineros and Necaxa. So do you think that's gonna be like that's gonna affect maybe things on our favor against you guys, or you think it shouldn't affect you?
Well, it shouldn't affect, but it will, just because.
Or to say really.
Just because it's nothing compares to playing against players of your quality. So it shouldn't affect, because they're professionals and it's all about treating each game like the same game. But it probably will. And for example, my prediction on this game is that I don't see us winning it, just because how you guys have been pointing out that Leon is probably going to go with their starting 11 that'll field for in the season. So I just don't see us kind of going with that mentality. I see us trying to basically just get our feet wet and get ready for the season, since our opening game is the first one of the season, and it's on I think it's on a Thursday. So it's really about just getting the players into form. So we'll see a lot of rotations, and I really don't see ourselves winning the game. I'd be happily surprised if we do, but I'm more interested to see how the team plays and how if they can continue that run of form that they had in the Clausura that had us in a pretty good spot until the league got canceled. Yeah.
So if your team loses tomorrow, you wouldn't be so effective. Like, man, we didn't win the Copa Telcel.
No, not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't start a hashtag fuera caballero. No, everything would be under control. He's got control. We trust in him. So it's we wouldn't be sounding the alarm. Literally, I'm just interested to see the playing style and what we can do against a top flight team, since we've been inactive for quite a couple months.
Definitely.
Also, we don't really know what to expect from our guys either, because typically, and this was no different, they don't. The two friendlies we played leading up to this, they don't show highlights, much less like a telecast, anything. Like, we don't know anything except the final score. Anything except the final score and who scored. Sure, 5-0 against another Primera División club is encouraging. It gives us optimism that our guys are ready to go, at least. But we don't know anything tactically. We don't know anything really about anything. It's really frustrating. Like, even like some kind of they could just set up a camera and live stream it to Twitter or something. Anything. Yeah. But they never do. So we don't really know what to think about these results, even though they were obviously very, very positive.
Did tactics really change, though?
Well, just in terms of like how guys are looking, playing the roles that we're accustomed to them to seeing them play. Did we beat Necaxa because we look really, really good doing what we do, or was Necaxa just looking terrible? Like, we really don't know.
We don't have evidence to know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Were we imposing our will? Were we imposing our will on them, or were they just all over the place? We don't really know. Yeah.
So I guess
that's one of the criticisms that I think Wallace have, that they should show the highlights at least. Like, I don't know.
At least the goals or the play leading up.
Why it should be a national secret.
So I don't know if you guys said it, maybe it cut off, but did your team say who scored?
Yeah, we got the goal scorers. That's pretty much the only information we got.
That's all we got.
Yeah. Yes.
The only reason it's noteworthy with us is we had 3 of our new signings score a goal. So whatever that means.
Out of the 7 goals in total.
Out of the 7 goals, Castillo, Marin, and a guy from Dorado scored. So whatever that means for tomorrow, take it as you will.
Yeah. I guess my guys already had said that. I guess tomorrow Ambris is gonna probably line up how he would on a regular. I guess just asking, do you think we'll see maybe some of the signings second half or nah?
So I would imagine we'll rotate quite a lot, and I think we will. I think we'll see a player like, for example, Luis Hernandez, who's a U22 Mexican player. I imagine him actually taking over the starting position from Velasquez. So we can see him kind of playing in. Edgardo Marin, just a player who has a lot of experience in Liga MX. One of those other players who I think you can rely on more than what we did last season when we had Elio Castro, who he was bought when we were fighting for Ascenso, and then he just stayed with the club. So he's never actually had that quality to be a first division defender. So maybe those two and Eric Castillo would be my 3 picks to play. But then again, I think in my opinion, we're going to see a lot of rotation just to not get hurt and just to let everyone kind of get their feet wet.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to ask this vice versa. So Eduardo, tell us, just like, obviously you have the Copa Telcel, but on a regular series, on a regular season, what 2 players should Leon look out for when we face you guys?
Well, obviously Leon's newest signing, Dario Lescano, you guys should watch out for him. And then hopefully if we have if they announce Roland, then him. But if we don't announce Roland, I would look at a player like Intriago. I think he's one of those players that is very slept on. He had his loan deal renewed because he's from Tigres. But he's one of those players that when I go watch Juarez play live, sometimes I just watch him for 2-3 minutes, because what he does in terms of coming all the way down, starting up plays, coming up, running in between the lines, it's really amazing. He's a really young player. I think he's 23 years old. So I think at each line we have a backbone, but in terms of the backbone of the team, Lescano and Intriago are 2 guys who are irreplaceable, because when Lescano doesn't play, we have trouble scoring. And when Intriago doesn't play, it's really hard to really play like Caballero wants us to play.
Okay, interesting.
You haven't mentioned Angelo Sagala though. Is he still on the club?
No, so he got sent back to Pachuca. He was on a loan. So it was funny. Okay. All of the players, or most of the players that we got when we moved up to the first division were loans with options to buy.
Yeah.
And there were some players that the team just decided like it's not we're not going to exercise that option. And with Sagal, the case was that before Roland had showed up, he was a starter, and he's one of those players that needs a lot of play time to get into a rhythm. So when the season started off, he was in great form, really playing well. But once Roland came in, just 2 different styles, and Sagal is more of like that Lescano role. So he was coming off the bench, and when he would be put in, you would imagine he could be like a little Energizer bunny, 20-25 minutes of just, attack the other team. But it just never happened because, like I said, he needs a lot of time to get going. So playing time became an issue, and I think Juarez just decided to use their extranjero place on someone else.
Yeah, I just remember him because he scored on us the last time we played.
That's why you were asking.
Before the narrative shifted in the second half, but he scored an early one on us.
Yeah, that was a tough match to go watch.
I was there and I loved it.
No, that was rough. That one just didn't make sense on so many levels, but we'll take it.
Yeah. Before either Louis, Carlos, Jose, or Javier tell Eduardo what players Juarez should look out for, let me just give you a kind of news flash. Apparently, our Jefecito Rodriguez will be using Joel Campbell's number 8, and Joel Campbell will be using number 12. Yes, so he is apparently working on a project named 12, which is to help students with scholarships to college and university. So that is Joel Campbell's new number, which I think it's been kind of, teasing us. Like he'll post a picture and like have like an emoji over his number because, but there you go. That's newsflash.
Yeah. That's okay. 8's a better number for Eccleston.
I believe.
I think.
I believe he used that number when he was at Arsenal, if I remember correctly.
And whenever the new jersey comes out, now I'm going to get a J Campbell number 12 for sure.
And it just thinks of the 12 consecutive victories. But so we'll be facing Juarez in like 5 or 6 matches. So any of you guys want to tell Eduardo what 2 players Juarez should look out for?
Ooh.
Two of them?
Our entire front line.
Sorry, you got mine. Already got mine.
All right,
Yeah, you could
go for it.
You could pick any two from the front line. Go for it, Jose. Give me yours.
Just two, right?
You're
Yes.
gonna give me PTSD from our last game once you start saying the names.
Meneses and Mena.
Meneses, the two M's, Meneses and Mena. Javier, do you have yours or Carlos?
Meme.
It was Mena and Meneses. Those two guys are dangerous. And Campbell, if he plays, I don't know, off the bench, of course.
I don't think he's gonna play.
And if not him, Leon, of course.
Well, not tomorrow, but just like in the season, because we kind of have already said Joel Campbell probably won't play this cup. But
Well,
just like
I was just saying that because he said don't mention the players that scored on the last 2 minutes, but I was Leon. So I said Leon and Campbell. No, I really think it's Mena and Meneses for sure. I think those two guys, and especially right now. Obviously, we haven't seen anything with the friendlies, right? But it's all just statistical. But I think Meneses and Mena, they're going to be, I don't know, probably because I don't know. Right now, I was watching Línea de Cuatro, and they were talking about Guardianes 2020 MVP for each. Like, who do you think will be the MVP for your team? Mm-hmm. I definitely think it's going to be between Mena and Meneses. So might as well just start saying it now. Watch out.
Definitely pick your poison situation, like on the left or on the right. With both of the guys. Yeah, I'm also going to say Meneses, but I'm going to throw in a curveball here. Meneses for sure, because I feel like he's constantly underrated. He's always a factor. He's always making things happen, and he's consistently underrated. He doesn't get. No, you don't think of him. Fans of other teams don't think of him when you think of our dangerous players as much as Mena. But so I'm going to go with Meneses and our X factor Nico Sosa, just for the simple fact that he's been good in preseason. He's got a couple of goals, I think, in the games that we didn't see. And teams won't know how to scout him, at least not at first. They don't know what they're getting with him. He's a kind of guy who can be really dangerous. Kind of guy, for at least from the highlight videos we've seen, and not from the 5 minutes that he's actually played with the team, and of course nothing to do with the E-Liga. But I think Nico Sosa could be an X factor. Yeah, I think he could be an X factor. Yeah.
On the Meneses train, Carlos, ¿qué piensas?
Aquino.
No, I'm gonna go with Mena, and then I'm gonna go with the guy that comes straight out of Juarez, who always seems to play with that extra little effort when he plays against Juarez.
What do you want?
Leon Legend. The honorable, the legend.
Might as well say Juarez legend too. While you're at it.
Could have a statue built outside the stadium. Luis Montes. I mean, the guy's awesome. I mean, I think he's our MVP. We don't really have anybody to replace him. You know, there's nobody behind him on our second string that replaces him. Like he's literally everything in the midfield for us. Yeah. Yeah,
the struggle is definitely most noticeable when he can't go, when he's out hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
There's none of those other guys. They're all great, and they're all great at what they do. But none of those guys can replace what he does.
Yeah. You guys say Luis Montes, and it's like a sad love song. The one we let get away. I mean,
if only you guys had.
Well, maybe if you stop doing it so loudly whenever he plays in Juarez, he wouldn't be so motivated to beat you.
Well, I mean, you got to know the story too, though.
I know the story. They told me the story. Yeah.
I mean, when you mess with a fan base, when you're with your, obviously what happened, it wasn't in any of the fans' control. But when you do that in a Liguilla match, like go in front of, it was just like. I obviously think they should stop it just because for when he retires, it's a little bit of a recruiting dig, but still, like I still get why they do it and why they don't like it.
Yeah, but you got to understand how, I mean, he felt a little bit slighted when they let him go, when they just didn't think they had space for him. And then,
that's what I'm saying though, because it was a terrible front office that we had that let him go. But once the team came back in, and we were playing again in that Liguilla match against Pachuca to do that. It kind of just boiled everyone up more than they already were seeing him play for another team.
Fair enough. Well, for my money, they can keep doing it because those boos seem to motivate him. So
yeah, no.
So as long as he remains our player, then they can boo him.
They do. No, they do. I mean, I remember being in the stadium for that one, and that one was that was a rough one because he's great. That's the one we let get away. I could do
the one that got away.
Yeah, I could do a music video in the shower with water coming down, just crying, thinking about the one we let get away.
So you've been just out of curiosity, my own curiosity, you've been a Juarez fan through all the iterations of the Juarez teams that have been there.
Yeah, through most of them, just because I wasn't alive for Cobras, but
right.
For Indios, I was there. I was at every game, and then for Bravos,
Bravos both in the Ascenso and now as a first division club.
Yeah, man, those Ascenso days are rough. I can tell you.
Yeah, I don't know personally. I haven't been following Leon long enough to have stuff to the Ascenso, but these guys, these
like I don't like how we moved up. Like personally, I don't.
You guys beat us in one final too,
dude. That's I have a whole story behind that because we went I watched the game in the morning, and that night we were at the airport. We went to the church, and then after that, like the players were in a bus. Oh, it was. And actually, that game wasn't televised, so we actually heard it, and like we heard when Sebastián Mas scored that goal, and man, we went crazy. I remember that day vividly. That was like a whole day. Where like 4 a.m. I'm getting back home because we were celebrating the whole night. But yeah, those Ascenso days are rough. I'm not gonna lie. I like talking about facing Atlético San Luis and Necaxa instead of Potros, UAM, and Tampico Madero. It's way better.
Yeah, a sense is not easy, and I think we both on each side as Fieras and as you can understand, how those games are, especially coming from Leon and the many times that we were about to go up, and then it just all kind of came crumbling down. But good days now. And right before we are going to talk, it's fun. Just do predictions. I mean, Antonio Garcia already let us know we're about to beat Juarez 10-0.
I don't know about that.
I hope
and
not.
then he also says se viene la octava, which is maybe
Eso sí.
Eso sí. But Eduardo, with your collection of jerseys at the back, what is a kind of
this year's her year
possible prediction for tomorrow, score-wise?
I mean, if I was very optimistic and very hot take-ish, I would say 1-0 win. But I'm not Stephen A. Smith, so I'm gonna be realistic and say that we'll probably do like a 3-2 loss or a 2-1 loss. Hopefully, I just want us to score and just see how we play, but I don't anticipate us winning.
Okay. Let's go with Javier.
I see Leon winning. I don't know. I don't think by a lot because I do think Juarez is a good team. I haven't seen anything in preseason about Juarez. I have seen the 5-0 Necaxa. Well, I didn't see it. I heard about it. Right? But I do think it's going to be like a 1-0 win or 2-0 or 2-1. I don't think it's going to be like any of the. But I do think only based on the fact that they're going to play in Leon, and I think that is kind of added pressure. Yeah, I think 2-1 win.
2-1 win. Okay. Go with Jose.
Yeah, I mean, the previous results are kind of misleading, so I think it's going to be a close game, in my opinion, and I think it is going to be a 2-1.
2-1 as well. Okay. Carlos, your prediction.
So I'm also going to go with the close result, just from what I saw last season, where when we went to Juarez, it was a nightmare game for us basically until Joel Campbell went in. But I think it's going to be very close. So I'm also going to go with the 2-1 Leon.
Okay, 2-1 as well. Louis, are you gonna do a 2-1 or throw me another curveball?
I'll be a little more ambitious. I'll say 3-1. I'll say 3-1. I think our scoring weapons will be out in force. I think they're going to find the net more than twice. But I think that our defense will come out a little bit shaky and a little bit rusty too. So we're going to let one in. I'm not going to say who the goal scorers are going to be because I don't even know what the lineups and the subs are going to be like in a Copa like this, or when the goals will come. But I'm going to go with a 3-1.
It's going to be 3 goals from Toledo. You already know that, Louis. He's already shown he's scoring goals. He's going to be our MVP. Watch.
Two goals by León signing Darío Lescano.
Oh, you'd love to see that. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game on just both ends. Going ambitious, but I do think it's going to be close. So I'm going to go with the 3-2, us winning. But, I mean, pretty much it's a do-or-die match. If we get eliminated, obviously we'll play a second game. But, it's whatever. It's a cup. But at least we kind of get to see the players get, jump back in slowly before the actual season starts, which is just around the corner. But yeah, so this was a preview for Copa Telcel. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you, Eduardo, for joining us and kind of giving us a little just in depth of how Juarez is looking like with all the transfers. What players should we be looking out for, especially in the regular season. I think I'm very excited to see Castillo and see how he does in Juarez. So it'll be very interesting. And I'm sure we will definitely have either a preview or after we face in a couple of weeks. So I thank you for joining. And thank you everybody on the chat. Raul Guerrero, shout out to you. You were on our last podcast as well. Gio Duarte for giving us the little, view of Orlando City since he does work there. Ivan Soler, shout out to you. Antonio Garcia, yes, se viene la octava. Trust me, we are all praying for it. And Adai with Johnny, which also just joined, said Juarez going down. So we will see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, so guys, I think we're gonna take off. If you don't know what time the game is tomorrow, look at the bottom of the screen. We'll be playing tomorrow 8 p.m. Central Time. If you're in a different time zone, do the math. But we will. I'm really bad with times. Me and Eduardo going back and forth with Mountain Time, and I keep forgetting Mountain Time is a thing.
It should be 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 Central, and then 9
Eastern.
And 7.
I would say
Mountain Time.
Yeah.
8%.
Yes.
Yeah, we're 7. It's 7 p.m. us. So we're the only city. El Paso, Juarez. We're the only city in Texas that's mountain. And all the rest of Texas is central.
Salt Lake City, what is Utah over there?
Salt Lake City is mountain also.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's why we had so many problems with you, Javier, trying to.
I know. Yeah, we had Javier what time is that in Mountain Time?
I would always ask you guys, what time is it?
So make sure to watch tomorrow's game. Hopefully we'll have a happy ending. But thank you guys for watching us on YouTube. Shout out to the people watching us on YouTube. Shout out to the people watching us on Periscope, because we are streaming on 2 streams, which I'm so excited about, especially with the upcoming season. So guys, we will be taking off. Take care, be safe, wear your mask, and watch León. Bye.